serious people who've had sex with their ex-friend's parent. How the hell did you get to that point? What happened after?
I had sex with one of my best friend's mum. It was Thanksgiving and I was driving her back home and she confessed that she didn't have sex in years since she was a widow. I told her that I didn't have sex in months since I was moving. We talked a bit more and we sort of flirted, and once we got to her house, she asked me to come inside and we did the deed. Edit: I accidentally put dead instead of deed at the very end. That's my mistake. I did not beep a dead body. I am not into that beep.
A friend of mine's mom basically hit on a number of us in the group, and sadly it just became kind of a matter of time before one of us caved, and it eventually happened. He saw it coming. I feel bad for him. And #X200B recently divorced mid-30s hot mom and a group of 18-years-olds. It wasn't me who did it.
Well, I was a horny guy, and my friend's mom was, well, available really. I'm not proud of it, it just kind of happens sometimes, and every time I felt shame. I don't know, like I was betraying my friend's trust. Worst thing was, she was actually a friend of my mom too, so I kinda saw her on a regular basis.
I had sex with a good friend's mom. Looking back, it's really messed up. She had been working on me for months. I was only 18. I'm ashamed of it. Fortunately, the friend never found out. But as an adult, I now look back at it and realize that I was in over my head and she should have known better.
A friend at school's mom was pretty hot. She was relatively young compared to most of our moms, and his dad was quite a bit older and absolutely minted. When we were young teenagers, it was a bit of a running joke to give him beep about his hot mom or how his dad was her sugar daddy. Fast forward to the end of 6th form, end of high school for US readers, when we were all 18 and he was having a party at his massive house to celebrate. Most people were outside getting drunk in the garden, but I'd had a bad few months, family stuff, so wasn't really feeling it. I decided to go and chill inside for a bit, and in the kitchen I found his mom just drinking wine and looking forlornly out the window. I asked if she was okay and she pretty much unloaded her issues. She was miserable, she hated his dad, she'd settled down without having a life first, felt trapped because she couldn't afford to leave, loved her kids, etc. I opened up about my issues too with my family, and it actually felt good to talk to a relative stranger about it. I now realize I should have been seeing a therapist. Anyway, one thing led to another and she started making out with me. I didn't stop her. She then led me upstairs and the rest is history. On the one hand, it was pretty awesome, she was smoking hot, I was pretty inexperienced, and she really knew how to communicate in the bedroom. On the other hand though, I knew I was betraying my friend, and beep up his parents' marriage, plus I could hear all my friends laughing and partying outside. A few months later they got divorced, and I understand she got a bit shafted in the deal because she cheated on him. I don't know if that was me or she did it with someone else too. I am pretty ashamed about it, but I also realized she was using me too. I was never under any illusion we had some special connection or anything, but I can see she just wanted to beep someone out of catharsis or frustration, and maybe, subconsciously, to force the problems in the marriage into the daylight so she could finally get out. TL, Doctor, friend's mom was hot but miserable in her marriage. Beep 18 young me at a party to feel younger, and probably to sabotage her marriage.
I slept with a childhood friend's dad while visiting my hometown. Long story short, he's bi and divorced, and I was browsing on a gay hookup app. It's a small countryside town, so the only things to do are ketamine, sex, or leave. He messages me and he clearly doesn't recognize me because I don't look the same as I did a decade ago. I recognize him, and the entire time I'm thinking, this is really weird, but I'm bored, and he's relatively handsome and charming, as far as charming goes on Grindr lol, so I figure hey, why not? And hindsight is 20/20 because the sex was fun, but the entire time I'm thinking, this is my friend's dad, he has literally driven me to school before. Just left an overall odd feeling. My friend doesn't know, and it's going to stay that way because we don't really talk whatsoever now, and it'd be weird to just pop up like, your dad jackhammered my prostate, and it was kinda weird.
I hooked up with my student's mom. I was teaching an after-school program, so I saw her almost every week at pickup. Sometimes her husband would pick up, yes, she was married, and we would talk a lot to the point that we became friendly. Well, I was going through a divorce and happened to bring that up one time, and she very quickly gave me her phone number, put her hands on me. She was not being shy about it. Something like out of a movie. Next time I saw her, she asked me out to lunch and I said sure. We met up, had lunch, she paid. and she went on to tell me about how her and her husband were not sexually involved with each other and they were free to see other people. We went back to my place and the sex was wild. That was the only time we hooked up though, as I started dating someone shortly thereafter. Her kid was one of those, "I'll beat your mom" Xbox Live kids. So I would just chuckle to myself when I saw him.
This reminds me of the mom of my cousin's wife. When her kids were younger, they used to bring home kids from school that had it really rough in their life. She would talk with them and help them, but one thing that was interesting she mentioned was that she was glad to have parents around who would initiate physical contact with them. She said she knew these youngsters needed physical contact since some of them had been feeling lonely or mistreated for a while, but she said she couldn't be the one giving it to them. Now reading these comments, I understand what she meant by that.
When I was 20, I got accepted to university in Canada. I'm a French guy and my mum put together a barbecue to celebrate it with my best friends, among which was my actual best friend, girl my age, who lived far so she would stay the night. My mum and dad were already getting divorced and sleeping in separate rooms back then, so there was no doubt they will ever get back to normalcy in terms of their relationship. After most people left, and I was drunking my way around talking about Canada with another friend, my now former best friend and my dad made sure my mum went to bed and carried on drinking together. All I remember after is me trying to figure out where the hell my friend was in the morning as the guest room was empty. It took so much fighting denial to realize she had been sleeping with my dad all night. Mum was destroyed, so was I. They both denied it and said they just talked. I still cannot believe this happened, but with retrospective, my dad has been such a crap dad to his kids and wife, and that friend has not been nice to me either.
I slept with my mate's mum. We were mates all through primary school and high school, played footy together etc. During high school they moved fairly close to us after his parents got divorced. Over the next couple of years we caught the bus to and from school together, and his mum would wait with us in the mornings and we would sit at a cafe nearby to have a coffee. Even on days when he was sick and wasn't going to school, she would still meet me for coffee. He would regularly have parties at his place on weekends, mainly because of the divorced parents, and his mum kind of let him have free rein as a result. On those nights I would hang out with her, have a drink together, chat, as she was more interesting to me than the girls my age. After high school was over my mate and I stopped hanging out, but every now and then I'd see his mum at the local shops etc. cause we still lived near each other. One day when we bumped into each other we decided to have a coffee like old times after we agreed to do it again. Started meeting for a coffee every now and then. After a time the coffee was being had at her house rather than at the cafe.
My coworker that I slept with set me up with her mum. This is kind of an awkward one. I helped a coworker move. After all that was said and done, we had a drink and got to talking. She ended up blowing me and we hooked up to beep a couple times after. We ended up just stopping and had almost no contact for about a year or so after. I made a satirical post on Facebook about the dating pool being, quote, a pond of acid full of robot piranha with lava for piss, and she messages me saying her mum was looking for a guy. I figure, okay, beep it. Why not? I like cougars. I start talking to her mum, we sorta hit it off, and she asks me to come over. I had no idea my former coworker lived with her. So awkward. After a couple hours of hanging out, her mum invites me into the bedroom. Still awkward. Next thing I know, I'm beep her mum while she's out in the other room watching TV. It never stopped being awkward. There was even one time when the coworker knocked on the door and said something to the extent of, I want to turn with him when you're done. Which her mum said something like, beep, you find your own cock to suck. Did I mention this was really beep awkward? That was sort of the defining moment where I knew I needed to just nope on out of there. Edit, I forgot to add the aftermath. I ended up getting a serious girlfriend, so it broke off. When we broke up, coworker and mum both tried to get in my pants shortly after. I didn't want to get into that mess again, so I ended up just ghosting them. I checked in on them both a couple years later. Coworker got married, mum moved out of state, but they're both doing well last I knew.
My best friend was dating this chick and having sex with her, and when she fell asleep he would sex her mom up, until one day his GF found out and the mom and daughter fought. It was almost like Jerry Springer.
A good friend of mine had this happen to her back in high school. She caught her, also high school aged, boyfriend sexting her 40-something-year-old mother, and it led to her mom and her stepdad's divorce. All while she was 17 years old. She still has a strained relationship with her mom to this day. We are 25 now, so this happened almost 10 years ago. I don't think you can ever get over that kind of betrayal by your own mother. I believe she still has a good relationship with her now ex-stepdad though. Her mom is now dating a man her age, but she will always be a predator in my eyes that seduces her daughter's boyfriend. So gross.
Not like the other replies, my father-in-law raped me. I didn't report it because I didn't feel I would have been believed. It was 30+ years ago. My husband is dead now, and I refuse any communication with his parents or siblings. Edit. Thanks for all the kind words, etc. I have been in therapy and I'm doing very well.
Interesting that the top 20 or so comments are younger male with older female and one older male. Is that really that much more common, or is it more that young men like to brag about it while a woman feels shame for hooking up with a dad?
We got a tad bit too horny. I joked about being a bottom and eventually we escalated in his bedroom. Our parents never found out, so it's been a secret.
Till there are a lot of predatory moms, are there?
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.